They attacked people with machetes. I personally talked to a young man who had his left arm cut off by a Raila Odinga mob because he did not vote for Obama's cousin. I saw towns that had been burned down. I saw churches that were burned to the ground and stores and houses. I saw thousands of people in tents because they had lost their homes when the Odinga mobs went crazy in Kenya and just threatened to burn down the whole country if Barack Obama's cousin, Raila Odinga, was not elected. I sat in the government compound in downtown Nairobi talking face-to-face with a close advisor to President Mbeki, who told me that in that campaign of 2007, that Barack Obama, Senator Obama, was in Kenya so much, stirring up trouble, that President Mbeki called Condoleezza Rice and said, please get your Senator Obama out of my country. He's causing trouble here. And then after the election, Mike, when Odinga lost the election, I was told by the same advisor that Kenyan intelligence had, if I recall, they had eavesdropped, they had intercepted the phone calls of Barack Obama calling Raila Odinga. It seemed to me it was almost daily. There was constant communication during that time. Now, I don't have the evidence to say that Barack Obama personally told Raila Odinga, burn the country down. But I know what the Kenyans told me in 2008. Go back to your country and tell the American people, do not elect Raila Odinga's cousin. He will tear your country apart. So, Michael, we have to be prepared that this communist agitator in the White House, who's never had a job in his life, who's never had to work, who's never had to produce, his life has been, he's just had, everything has been done for him. That this guy, if he gets thrown out of the White House, Michael, I am fully prepared that this guy would pick up the phone. He would call Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam. He would call the leaders of the Black Panther Party. He would call all of his communist thugs. He would call his labor union thugs and say, burn it down. I really believe he would do it.
Well, I tend to agree with you. I believe that if Obama is not declared the winner initially, I could very easily see a scenario where the streets of Washington, D.C. are literally flooded with rioting Obama supporters surrounding the White House, surrounding the Capitol, literally flooding the streets. And I don't believe Obama would do anything to prevent that. Instead, I think he would fan the flames. We would hear, oh, Romney stole the election, things of that nature. And, I believe that because I don't think Obama's going to just go away peacefully. I don't think on election night he would just, concede and say, oh, Romney won. I think that I've been warning about this kind of scenario for months and months and months. I'm hearing all kinds of disturbing things in the background, and I'm going to be writing more about these things in the upcoming weeks because I think that I'm extremely concerned about the events surrounding this election. I'm very unsettled about it. I'm hearing all kinds of things in the background. So let's pray for the best, but let's also prepare for the worst.
Well, have you noticed the reports about how the ballots for the armed forces are being suppressed? Our soldiers around the world are being deceived about the deadlines to request a ballot. The places that they have to go to get a ballot. All this is very confusing. They said right now the voter participation among armed forces members is the lowest in decades. There's no explanation for it. Well, I have an explanation for it. The Obaministas are suppressing the vote.
Oh, it's very true. And the Obama campaign knows that the military is more likely to go to Romney, so they've actually challenged rules regarding military voting in Ohio, one of the key swing states, and they're already in court trying to fight these little battles, and there are already dirty tricks being played by the Obama campaign. And not that the Romney campaign's not capable of the same dirty tricks. We saw what the Romney campaign did to Ron Paul up in the state of Maine. I mean, that was absolutely horrible. So both sides are capable of these kind of dirty tricks, but Obama's definitely already started, and I think we're going to see a lot more of these things. And the American people won't hear a lot about it in the news, but these things are going on behind the scenes, and they are trying to pull out a victory any way that they can. I mean, this election has already gotten very dirty behind the scenes.
What do you think are the likelihood? What's the likelihood that there would be a false flag event before the election?
Oh, I think it's very high. I think that, we could see anything, because I think, the term October surprise, when you've got an election this close, any little thing can change the momentum. So I wouldn't put it past both campaigns to have something up their sleeve that they can pull at the last minute if they feel they need to. And it's very, very close, and this debate is just going to make it even closer, because it looked like Obama had a little bit of a lead there, but now Romney is gaining the momentum, so it's becoming much closer like I originally anticipated. I think this is going to be extremely tight, so both sides are good. I don't think will hesitate to pull out dirty tricks and try to create some type of October surprise.
Well, Michael, in the past several weeks, there have been various pieces of information that came to me that I didn't seek out, but the sources were very good, and I really believe it was the Lord who allowed me to hear those tidbits of information. One was a person who stopped here at our office, and we were having a discussion, and anyhow, I'm being very vague, so I don't give out the identity of this person. But this individual's brother worked at a high-level position in the White House under a former president. And this individual said to me, "My brother is preparing for trouble by the election. He's telling me he is concerned that Mr. Obama is not going to leave the White House, and he's telling our family to be prepared to get out of the city before the election." Now, I thought that was very interesting that this person just happened to show up in the office to meet me and say hello, and this piece of information came out of this individual's mouth. I wasn't expecting it. And then a business friend just happened to be talking to a wealthy businessman, and that businessman is the friend of a high-ranking general. And this general made the remark, this is 2 weeks ago, that if we get to mid-October and the polls are close, if it's tied or Romney slightly ahead, he said you can be assured there will be a war before the election. I think, Michael, that the Lord is allowing me to hear these things as give me a heads up. Be ready. Be prepared. The Obaministas are not going to give up power. This is the first time that the communists in America have had real power. And communists don't play by the rules. Communists are liars. Communists are deceivers. Communists will do anything. Bloodshed is not out of the question for communists. And I am very, very concerned that this delusional psychopath in the White House, it will do anything in the coming weeks. He could care less. If it rips the country apart, he doesn't care, Michael. It's all about him. It's about him having power. It's about him getting his agenda through. And it's a very, very dangerous time. And I'm just trying to get across to the audience, please be on full alert. Michael, right now, just today, as we, are doing this program, the Turkish parliament today voted to give the president of Turkey authority to attack Syria. That is a resolution of war. I mean, literally, that's what has happened. Turkey declared war on Syria today.
Yeah, it's absolutely frightening. So, this is essentially, could this be the beginning of the next major war in the Middle East? And eventually, I'm entirely convinced that, there's going to be a major war involving Israel coming up. Hopefully not before the election, but you never know. It could start at any moment because conditions in the Middle East have never been this tense. Just like in this country, things have never been this tense. Anger and all the polls and surveys show the anger and frustration of the American people is at an all-time high. And so all it's going to take is a spark to set it off, just like in the Middle East. Things are tenser than ever before. All it's going to take is the right spark to set it off. So we're living at a time when literally things can change in an instant. And if we do see a major war in the Middle East, that could cut off or reduce the flow of oil, drive up oil prices, cause major economic problems. So all these things are kind of like dominoes, which can fall very quickly. And then, if we see a major financial crisis with the derivatives, which you've talked about so many times, we're talking about all over the world, the total notional value of derivatives well in excess of $1 quadrillion. And even just if you take 5 of the largest banks here in the United States, including Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, Bank of America, when you combine those 5 banks, their exposure to derivatives alone is over $250 trillion. So they're leveraged, they're vulnerable, they're living on the edge. We didn't learn the lesson from the financial crisis of 2008. In fact, things are even more vulnerable today. Our financial system, if there's a sudden shock to the global system, whether it be war, false flag, the election, whatever it is, the price of oil, things can change in an instant, and the house of cards that our financial system is based upon can collapse at any moment. Because most people, when they think about our financial system, they think about it as, I'm investing in stocks and bonds, I'm investing in companies. But that's only a small part of our financial system today. Most of it is this great casino where people are making side bets. And people hear the word derivatives and they think, what is that? That sounds complicated. And they are very complicated. But I like to break it down and make it very simple by talking about how they're side bets. Basically, people are over on the side betting about what's going to happen, or, things will rise to a certain level, or if certain securities will default or not. And all this betting has basically turned Wall Street into a giant casino. And at some point, this casino is going to go bust. And when it does, it's going to take our economy from where it is now to a lot lower.
Well, I was just thinking, Michael, that in September 2008, if you go back and you look at the news reports in late August, early September 2008, John McCain was actually ahead in the polls. Then something happened in mid-September. Lehman Brothers collapsed. And the collapse of Lehman Brothers gave the election to Obama. Because the public suddenly was shocked. It was the first time that they really realized there were problems with the economy. And Mr. Obama milked it for all he could milk it. And, of course, he blamed the greedy bankers. He blamed Wall Street. He blamed the capitalists. And he did his very best Marxist populist rant. And the media, of course, just, they told the public, Bush and Cheney have destroyed the economy. We need hope and change, and, the rest is history. But I really think if you go back and look at the campaign, the collapse of Lehman Brothers was the turning point in that campaign. After the Lehman Brothers collapse, John McCain did not stand a snowball's chance in hell of winning that election. The people had made up their mind, we're going to get rid of the Republicans. We're going to bring in Barack Obama. The point I'm making is, if they're about to lose their wonder boy, are the money masters going to sacrifice somebody else in this election campaign? Is there going to be another market crash before the election in order to scare the public and somehow throw the election to Obama's favor?
That's a very good question. Now, just the other day, USA Today was kind of hyping how October historically is the month when stock markets crash. We saw it in 1929, we saw it in 1987, we saw it in 2008, and USA Today came out with a big article saying, oh, it's October. Are we going to see another crash? So you never know, what they're planning behind the scenes or what they're anticipating. So, October always makes me nervous because, it's kind of the month that's associated with stock market crashes. Now, will it play out the same way again, or could we even see one after the election in the midst of, chaos surrounding the election? It's hard to say, but without any doubt, one is coming. The economy is declining. Things in Europe continue to get worse. The economic fundamentals are not there. These companies are trading at price-earnings ratio, which are way out of whack. There's been this euphoria on Wall Street. It's been pumped up by all this money from two previous rounds of quantitative easing, and now another round. So it's a bubble. The stock market is in a huge bubble right now, and a lot of people have written about this. So it could crash again at any time. It could be this month. It could be next month. It could be early next year. But it's definitely coming. And this pyramid of risk and debt and leverage, it's just begging to fail. The only question is, when is it going to happen?
All right, Michael, for many months, I would say going back to the spring of this year, various people that I know who are investors have mentioned to me the possibility of a market crash in October, and they have been very specific. And this isn't that they've looked into a crystal ball or they've had a prophet tell them anything. It's just, market savvy, just by knowing the cycles and patterns of the market. And they have told me that this is privately, they've said to me they've been very concerned that there would be a market panic in October. And this is stuff that going back into the spring and early summer of this year that people have said to me privately. Well, the dates that they mentioned to me, they said that what they were really concerned about was October 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Well, we're talking here next week, okay? So I've not said much about this on the radio because I don't like being misquoted, and I don't like people, putting stuff out there. Rick Wiles prophesied market's going to crash, whatever I say is somebody twists my words, so I'm very cautious about saying these things. However, one of my listeners emailed me yesterday and said that the Lord woke him up the night before. So yesterday is Wednesday. The Lord woke him up Tuesday night during the middle of the night and told him to listen to a True News program from September 2010. And I forgot about this program. But the guest was Cindy DeVille, and she's with Shekinah Today Ministries, and we broadcast this program in the fall of 2010, and she had 3 visions, all right? The first vision, and she had these visions, this first one was August 10, 2010. She said, I kept seeing the same picture over and over. New York City, a tall woman in a green dress, sunglasses, black scarf. She didn't want anyone to know who she was. She represented New York, its wealth, high fashion, prestige, power. She was walking quickly to her car, an expensive red sports car, a Ferrari. She got into the car. She didn't want anyone to know she was leaving. She quickly excelled and sped away, leaving New York. She said, it seems the woman represents New York City, the financial capital of the world. She seemed to be hiding her identity. She didn't want people to know that she's getting ready to leave. Perhaps this means that there are things being kept secret behind the scenes so as not to cause a panic. The fact that she was in a red sports car and left quickly denotes a quick departure of the wealth. Vision 2, September 14, 2010. I saw the number 8 standing up straight on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, thin and tall. Then I saw it fall down on its side, and a pair of scissors cut it in half. As I pondered